Okay, welcome back to part 3. We're gonna do the edges of these three. Some areas you might find that it pops right now. That's because we haven't done the final white here. And once we do that, this will fall back. If not, we'll just put a little bit of gray on it. So I'm gonna flip this to do the other side. And I'm just gonna do a few trees. Then I'm gonna pause, finish it, and come back. Because once you know how I do it, you don't need to watch me do the whole thing. So again, the same little brush that I have. It's like a 0. Actually, it's an old brush. It's missing a lot of hairs on it, and it's very skinny. But you know what? I keep my old brushes because I find they have their job to do. More water, because it's not, you want it to glide so it doesn't stay in one spot and does big blobs. So I'm trying to lay my brush down a bit, and especially where there's dark, that's where I want to hit it the most. I'm gonna go a little bit on the other edge. More water. So it's kind of grayish, white. Might be a little bit too much. Go here. Just keep dabbing into my puddle of water, of not water, but of paint to reload. So here, gonna go a little bit on the outside to get into that dark area. Now there's a lot of details to do yet, but once we're done with the trees, then it's the background, the little trees in the back here, the little, the little, I guess it's trees. Maybe a little bit more here. So now keep going through all your trees, and I'm gonna come back when I'm done with those. Okay, so now I'm back. I've done both sides of the trees. So now we're gonna go put our black dots everywhere. Just gonna wash. I think I'm gonna use a one round brush for this. I will reload some black. See, I'm keeping the same dirty palette that I have. I don't need to put another one in. I'm gonna show you, see on these trees how the front ones are the black is much brighter. In the back, you see something, but they're not defined. So I'm gonna start, I think I'm gonna start with my front trees, and then I'll know what to do with the back ones. And here is the original painting. As you see, the back ones have, like these here, have some details, and then I can put touches of white. And the back ones, it's almost like I did a grayish instead of a dark black. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this close. So some water, and water down your black a little bit. And so I'm gonna start with this one here. Maybe with this one here. Oh, this is a little bit, you know what? This brush is a little too big for this one, for this tree. So I'm gonna go back to my tiny little brush. I have some black water down already. I'm gonna use that, and I'm just gonna go touch it. Okay, I'll go back to this one here. Hopefully you see that, and you know, and then I can put a little knot here. And I just go, and you can put them, you know, you can go in a scoop kind of thing. And I'll put a knot here. It's all about, you know, and these trees have lots of knots and as they grow older, they have more knots. But I want to be careful that this one here doesn't seem as close as that one. So maybe, you know, not too black. Seems like there's a natural one right here. And already it's looking like an aspen. Now this tree here is right in front. This one will have the details are going to be more, we're going to see them more. So I might, you know, put more detail on this tree. A knot here. They have lots of knots. And sometimes the knots are the knots of the branches. And your knots, you know, it's just a stroke of the brush. It's, you see, don't have to reload as much because it has, my brush, you know, is working fine. It has a lot of, and right here it's already black. And look, I'm kind of going into making little lines when I do my knot. I'm going to show you up close the knots. You can see that. I don't know if my camera focused well. Oh, because I put the focus on the canvas so that it stops zooming in and out. We'll see how that worked. I am definitely looking into getting something much better than this to record. I just don't know yet what. So another knot. And when I decide where my branch are gonna go, I'm gonna do a knot and then a branch. That'll be next. That's what we're gonna do next. Actually, I might decide to put shadow in the tree a bit more. A knot. See, my knots are not perfectly round. My knots are just like, I'm just dabbing here and there and it's creating a knot. Because the knots are not really perfectly round. Okay, keep going like that. I'm just gonna take a bit. And it depends on the age of the tree, how much you're gonna put on. And from here, after we've done this, we're gonna check for the to see if the tree has enough shadow, has enough light. I might go in back with my white and, you know, put more white. Sometimes just by looking at the photo, I kind of know where the knot's gonna be, like from what I've already painted in the tree. I'm gonna do a big tree, And then I'm gonna stop the video and I'm gonna finish the knots because it's the same thing everywhere. You just don't want to do the knots at the same place on each tree. You just keep moving. I went. Okay. And that. Reload as you need it, because that tree can still, not too far in front. It can have the details. And make sure you go right up to the top. Okay, so I'm going to do this big tree. This big tree, I might have to change my my brush. Oh, that's way too much. You don't want them like I just did, them all together like that. It's still little lines. And as they're bigger, they're older. So I'm going to put more knots in this one. You can have knots right in the middle. I didn't put any right in the middle. Well, this one's not too bad. And I'm going to show you also, maybe before I stop the video, a background tree. Oh, I did right here. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going. Put a knot, another knot. I put one in the middle. See the way I'm tapping, it's not an even knot, it's just a knot. Maybe my scruffy brush would work well with this. I'm gonna try that just to show you maybe the difference in brushes with the brushes, because this brush is so used up. It has little hairs everywhere, so it might just give me, just by tapping, just putting a tiny little bit of paint, maybe taking the excess off and see if that's gonna work. Yeah, okay, that's what we're gonna do. It's putting a lot more lines faster instead of, and then I can just go put some knots. See, it already created a few knots for me. Okay. I'm gonna do this tree now that I'm working with a different brush. I just dabbed it in and I'm gonna go. Okay. My hairs, I think I took too much off. I'm barely touching because I don't want it to, be over too much. I want to make a knot here. Kind of like that look. Especially on the big trees, it's kind of, if I go line by line, it's kind of hard to do so many. I'm just gonna go in. Actually, what I'm gonna do is water down my black here a little bit. And that's a lot of watered down. And I'm gonna take the excess off and see if that works better. Yeah, so it has to be watered down. Just adding it here and there just to, okay. I skipped this tree completely. Okay. I can just tap also. I'm not sure if I like this or not. a knot, doesn't, and then we'll go and I find I have less control where my lines are with this. I kind of like that better. So it's a play between this and my little liner. Maybe one side works better than the other side. It's more controlled if I do that, I find. So I think I'm going to use both brushes. Use this and then just go and define it all. You know, put the more definition. Maybe, okay, working from a knot here. Let's not forget to put some knots. The knots are not very defined yet. We're just gonna go put some more black in it after. One right in the middle. Now, as I said, the big trees have a lot of knots. They have a lot of black. Okay, I'm gonna do this one too. Put knots. A knot. Okay, and then just a bit more black. So it's created a shadow because I went over it with my finger. Let's see this side here. I'm gonna go fast so that I don't stop and puddle in the same spot. I'm doing more knots, going sideways. I will reload again my brush with some black, with the watered down black. Put the knot. Oops. Oh, see, it's created a shadow. I'm gonna leave it just like that when it does that, because we need those anyways. Well, that's a bit much. Just gonna look actually a bit old, that's all. And I'm gonna put a couple more knots here. I don't think I've done much knots in this one here. The more visible your knots are, the more we're bringing your tree in front. Okay. Actually, I like it. I'm just gonna take make a few little strokes. Actually, you don't even see it. I don't even see it. You guys don't even see it either. But it doesn't have to have too much. We're just detailing a little bit more and creating kind of a perspective in our tree. And I'm going here and there with Actually, like I said, I don't think you probably even see this. Here it's like a branch broke, so I'm gonna go do a little cut branch here. Okay, this one's in the front. So let's go do our knots darker. Yeah. Okay, this one too, darker, and you're gonna see the difference as soon as you put your knots darker, what it does. See, it brought the tree right in from this to this. This one, it's in the back. I might just leave those knots as is, but certainly this one here is right in front of us. You know, so we're going to put it really black. And you see, I'm tapping here and there in the knot. I'm not making a circle. I'm just tapping. Actually, I kind of like the effect of what the other brush did. I didn't like it at first, but I like it now. Okay. See how that brought in front? And then we'll go do white highlights here and there. It's gonna just pop. Whoops, I went into the wrong puddle. I talked about white, went in the white. Okay, so let's go do this knot. And like I say, where the branches are also will have a knot. Your branches, you're going to decide where you want yours. Like I say, my painting's not like yours. So I'm going to put mine where I think I want them. So you see, I'm on the tree, I'm putting knots that are maybe not as bright, which is okay. Like that. That makes such a difference. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. All right, let's keep going. This is the fun part, I find, because we're almost there. You know, we're almost at well, not at the end, but of the fine details. See, I'm kind of looking. Some I did already, and some are just there. It's kind of telling me where to put the knots just by looking what's already existing on the tree. You know, sometimes it can go down. Okay, so this tree's a little behind that, so I'm not gonna do it as dark. Press lightly. So see, my knots are not as as black as those because I'm not pressing hard. You know they're there. And they will have branches, so it'll have more knots in it. That's what I'm going to bring it down just to show you that, you know, the knots are not all not all at the same spot. Seems like there's another one here. And you see, I'm not going slow. This one is right in front, this tree. So, we can detail it a bit more than the back trees. The knot might even come out a little bit because of a branch. So what I'm going to do with this one, it's coming out a little bit. I'm going to make a branch that was cut down, broken. Just like that. It gives it interest. Not here. Maybe one here. Okay, now this tree is also behind. So this one's gonna not have as much. Lighter. See, I'm not reloading my brush. And if you find it too dark, just put your finger through it. Okay, I'm just gonna take some of the black off. Here I find that it could be kind of like a shadow, like that. Okay, a bit too black, like that. That is much better. Here also, I'll press on it. And like that. So, you see you see a perspective. These are right in front, so you know they are in front. Okay? So now we're going to start, I'm going to go do some little bushes in the back. So that will be watered down, black watered down. And so I'm just going to do, okay. That's the way that I'm positioned. I'm going to try my script brush. So your script brush is this, a long brush, watered down. I think it's in the position that I'm also placed. Maybe I should start closer. Just want to do kind of like trees and kan iets fouet the. And we're gonna, okay, so you just do like, almost like when we were doing grass. And the more watered down it is, actually, the better it's gonna work. Just make sure that you turn it into a point, okay? I might take a little bit of excess off. See, it's, and a lot of it's going to be hidden by our branches that we're going to do. So even if it's not turning out perfect, it's okay. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is go into my dark green with the black. So it's going to tone down my black, giving me just we'll see how that works. Need more water. So I'm going into, I'm making a very dark green. I'm trying not to press too hard. See, I really like this because it's kind of see the branch, you don't see the branch. I'm going to go into, make sure you're in a point, you're pointy, so turn it. You might not, I don't know if this is catching on the screen or not. I'm going to make them darker just so that you see what I'm doing. I'm trying to barely touch my canvas here. So I'm just making a 10. It doesn't have to go all the way also, because it could be like little bushes. That's too, when you see that it makes like a big stroke, you don't have enough water. It's because I'm also trying to press very lightly. And then it can go, and I'm going to go back here and put some more in between here. So now we're gonna work on our branches. I'm gonna keep my my script liner, and I'm just going into the black and with the water, and I'm turning it, filling up my brush, and turning and turning and turning. Okay, so I'm gonna start doing some branches. Even though this one is in the back, it still has branches, but I'm gonna start with this here. And from there, make more little branches. We want to, fill this up. And the reason why the front tree, the branches are on top of the back trees. So make sure you do that. And when you do, maybe I should have started with that. So here, you're not going to see, it goes behind the tree. Gonna make one here. Make one here. Stop where you get to the tree here, because it's behind, so that the branches are not, and they could be a bit lighter and thinner, and not as thick. And I can make, some little flyaway branches here. And the same thing here. They can be more black, darker. And this one too, darker. Because it's in front. The darker your branches are, and it's black. I'm just using black. The darker they are, the more in front they look. So I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna do one that is like, so I'll do a knot, and I'll do it that it goes upwards. So a long branch, and it's crooked. So remember, this tree is in front of that one, so I'm not bringing the branches over it. That's how you create your perspective. And from here, I can do another one. And you do your little branches here and there. That's how it's going to fill up the back. The back will be less predominant. Is that how you say that? And it goes on top here. So from that branch, one can be going in. When the branch, they grow every which way. So does, well, ours. Okay. So now this one here. So again, there'll be a knot here. Wherever you put a branch, there's a knot. They can cross as long as it doesn't go over another tree, front tree. At a certain point, they'll kind of cross each other. I just want to fill up, you know, this area a bit. And over here, just not as dark because it's behind. I'm going to put another branch down here. And not behind, it's going behind that tree, you know. Just okay. So now I'm gonna work on this tree here. This tree is behind that one, but really it's so close that some branches might go over. I'm gonna start up here because the tree is not flat, right? It's rounded. So some branches, even though this is in front, they'll cross each other. So I will see how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it and see how it visually looks. It's fun now because, you know, I can do so many branches here. And it can go over that one because it's in the back. So, and these trees had a lot of branches at the top. That's why I'm kind of concentrating at the top. So I'm going to make another one here. And I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Make it a bigger branch. I'm going to end up with a lot of branches here. See my branch, what I'm doing? I'm bringing it down like that. That's kind of cool. Where there's a branch, you know, there's always like a dark spot under. So it seems like there's a knot here. Okay, I want to put another one, maybe lower, so we'll do a little knot. We'll do this here. And we'll keep bringing it up. And I'll go here. See how my trees in the back are starting to fall there in the back? And I can put, you know, as many little branches as I want. And you guys can do that too. So now I'm going to start. I'm going to do this one here. I didn't even do that one yet, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go on top of that one. And it can be actually a bigger branch. Press just a bit harder. And can be big all the way because it's a big branch, so it just keeps going. And from there, I'm going to create more little branches. And once we're done that, then we'll see if I need water. Same thing, water it down, roll, roll, roll. And once we're done that, we'll see where we need to put our highlights. So this branch, I'm going to put one right here. Bring it down. Kind of a little knot. Pressing and going off the canvas. So It's giving us a perspective that it's not just skinny little branches. It could even be a thicker branch. Like that. And you see how I wave that one? Because branches are not straight. They're curvy. They're not necessarily really straight. So let's do from here. Let's do, I'm shaking. Okay, let's do little ones. And from there, it can go up even more. So you saw, so I took this branch and crossed all the trees because this one is in front. And it's a bigger tree, so, you know, the branches are bigger, longer. Okay, and this one here, I'm gonna make a broken branch. I like that look. So I'm gonna make a broken branch right here. I like that. Okay, so now I'm going into this. So this will cross over there, over that one. Gonna start on this side. There's a beautiful knot here. So I'm pressing down and going up. So it's crossing over, and that is perfect. That's how branches are. This one can have a bigger one. It can have a bigger one here. It just keeps going. You don't know where it's going because it gets all mixed up with the other branches. So that's what brings our back trees backwards. Back. See how these trees now are so far away? That's exactly what we want. Here I'm just going to put a little bit more black just so that it pops. So now I'm going to go do a branch over here. And I'm going to go across that tree, go way there. Even if this tree is in front, I still crossed it a little bit. It's so far away that, you know, I'm not up to here. It's just a tiny little branch. And my branches could be a little bit thicker. So, but up here, I'm going to start going lighter. Usually a brush like this, you don't hold it this close. Okay, that's kind of a little bit big as a top branch from a little branch. That's because it's the way I'm holding this brush. I'll try to go very lightly to do that. Continue that one. And continue this one. Go, like it'll have thousands of branches. I'm not going to do 1,000 branches. Just going to do that it has, you know, and it crosses in front of its own tree, you know. Even more branches. Oh, that is too, not enough water. Okay. Not even sure if I'm going to do another branch on that one. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one here. This one's in the back, so I'm not making it cross. It can continue over here, but it's not crossing. And make this like that. Okay, one over here. It's not crossing that tree, but it can cross over here and cross over there. Okay, that's it for that tree. So now we're on to this tree. I'm gonna put one right here. There's a beautiful knot, a bigger branch will cross over here, starting to, I'm making it cross over here. It actually doesn't matter for this branch. And I'm gonna do a bigger branch crossing that tree. So what that is doing when I cross a tree, like especially here, and the big branch brings this in the back. Up here doesn't really not matter as much because there's so many branches on the top that it does kind of cross the bigger tree. Okay, so now I want a branch over here. And it's going to cross that tree. And it's going to cross its own trunk. And I'm going to do one up here. Well, that's a little bit thick. So I'm going to try to do it a little branch. I'm going to bring some down. Okay. I find that this one needs like another branch maybe here. I find that it looks naked. So I'm not going to cross it over. I'm going to put more little kind of trees hiding here. I think my brush might not have been loaded enough before. Okay. I might do a little broken, or you know, a branch that started and didn't do much. Just actually, it started and it's gonna go right up to here. And I'm gonna do and follow what you think you need for your painting. So say I'm just putting little ones, filling up some spaces. Okay, so now I'm gonna go do some of this. Well, bigger actually. And this one here, you know, it's almost off of my canvas. So I can make it go like that. That's all we're gonna see is kind of branches that we don't see where they finish. Go like that. And just keep going. just touched this branch here, kind of took it out. I'm gonna be careful that it's not too black, because I don't want it to be in front. I want it to stay in the back. Okay, so I still have some black in my brush there. I'm just gonna come again. I don't have enough water. I'll put the water, but not dip back in my black, just with water and a dirty brush. And over here too, I wanted that corner a bit darker. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep this brush, but very watered down, not putting any more water in it, black in it. I'm just gonna come here and do kind of like a shadow, like aging the tree. On this side too, maybe. Because those trees, that's what they do. They get some black like that. See, it brings it another level. Again, water, not really reloading in the black. I'm just going on the side of my palette. And if ever I make a mark that's way too dark, I'm just gonna go like that, dab it. Put some, and I don't want the shadows like what I do here, not beside it here. I want it different spots, so it kind of brings out the white that we already have. And I'm not necessarily going anywhere. See how it ages your tree? This one here, I might just bring it like that, and boom. Over here too. Just makes the white pop a little bit that we've done. And I'm just gonna dip into my water. I'm gonna do it here also. Okay. A little bit on these, not too much. A bit. Dab into my water, and I'm not going exactly in the back. I'm going on the side. Careful not to bring this tree too forward. It can be right where it fell. Okay. Which one needs it? It could be like right in the middle. On the side here. I'm just giving it another dimension. If you find you put too much white, this is the time to, tone it down. Like I would like maybe some areas to have like that, maybe, it's like dirtying the tree. And look at your tree. Like I say, your tree won't be made like mine. You have the chance to look at the complete video before painting, so you can actually visually see, oh, okay, I like that. I'm gonna do that, or I'm not gonna do that. See, I'm toning it down a little bit. I'm not gonna do much more on that tree. I don't want to bring it forward. So I'm just going back into not adding really black, just picking up what's kind of just left on the palette. Same thing here. I won't do much to that tree. It already has a mark there. Okay. I'm gonna look back, look at it. Looks pretty good to me. So now I think I'm gonna go do is that touch here and there with white, and on all of these knots, we're gonna go highlight it. So I'm putting back some white on my palette because my white is pretty dirty. I want clean white. And actually, I'm going to switch back to my tiny little brush. See how that works for me? So on the knots, I want to go put a little highlight. Not everywhere, just the top or the side or, you know, like this. That brings everything out. And maybe here and there, not everywhere, go put a little bit of white. On here. I'm not going all the way through because this kind of dark over here. And just a little more white. I'm not putting a ton of white, just adding it, you know, so my tree's not as gray. It's just kind of our final layer on the tree now, doing this highlight. And a little bit on this tree still, like the light could be touching it a little bit. A little bit of highlight. Not too much on the bottom. It's where the sun kisses the tree. Oh, I love that. Love that. Okay, now the bigger tree right here. And not there. And the same thing here. As I go down, I'll just put, not what, doesn't have to have white everywhere. And a little bit here. Now on here. I don't want to hide all the gray that we've, you know, put on this branch, this knot. This knot. So all the knots. And maybe not as white at the bottom. Okay. And it's okay that I have spots here that are not white. We'll see once we're done how that works out for us. Even though the branches up there, they're still white, like this, the sun still hits it. Maybe not as much because there's a ton of branches, but since I see the trunk, then I'm gonna go touch it. Okay, so more highlights here. And it can even come right on the edge here. Like, it's almost like the bark has lifted, but it's like I say, it's the way the tree is made. And I like this little brush because I can just, you know, it's not a big amount of white that I'm putting. And it's just making everything pop. This here seems like there's a knot here. I'm just gonna go put a little bit of color here just to pop it up. pop this knot. Over here. Whoops. Actually, I don't want to do under. I want to do like up. And here over the cracks. Now you can highlight over the black that you've done. See if we've put too much black. Here I can kind of come and put some white. Hard on the shoulder, working high like that. Okay, like this. A knot. Knot. I don't want to go kind of crazy over here. Right over here. Maybe the light, maybe the way that there's that other branch also that I'm going to do that goes like that. But I wanted to do those details first. Now that branch here is not necessary, but I find it just gives it another visual interest. It's kind of, well, it's not a branch actually. It's a little tree. Okay. This one here, like I said, not too much. Visual here and there. Also here seems like there's a knot. I'm not touching my branches, not putting any highlights on the branches. It's just the trees themselves. This one's right in front. We can't, let's not forget that not putting light everywhere because a branches casts shadows. So if we skip spots, it's more realistic. So it just, and I'm kind of dabbing when I go over the knots, so it doesn't look like a circle, you know, like a perfect placement, if I can say that. Well, there's going to be a part 4, guys, because my camera's going to stop soon. Well, it can go switch by itself because we can finish this. And here. Now, this little one, same thing. It's here and there. It's in the back. I just want some spots here and there to be white. Okay. Highlight on the, kind of highlight this a little bit. These little knots here. Okay. Okay, so now I want to do that branch here. that tree, that crooked tree. So I'm gonna take, not sure, I'm gonna take the flat and see how that works out for me. My tiny little flat brush. I'm going back into our original mix of green. Might take a tad of black on the corner. And I'm gonna come and do that tree. And this one will be like a crooked tree. Crooked branch. Okay, I'm gonna reload again. And bring it up like that. And like this here. So it's in front. It's crossing this tree here. And we're gonna make it that there's another branch coming off of it. Okay, so I'm gonna make it just a tad darker, and it can be kind of crooked, you know, not so straight when I do it, and I pass over it like it's a baby aspen. Okay, I'm gonna go right away into my white kind of thing, and I'm gonna go I'm gonna lay it down so that I can do this, and I'm gonna scoop. That's what I want to do some scoops. And go back into this mixture, the gray. I'm not going into the yellow. I'm trying to not go into the yellow. Not enough weight. I want to do kind of a grayish and then, you know, come and highlight it after. Even though it's in front, I just don't want to spend the hours, you know, putting in the highlight, but it's not really showing off well. I'm going to take some of my green, a tiny bit of yellow to pop it more, a bit of the white. And I'm going to, here we go. That's what I want to do. And I want to keep some black kind of on this side here, like the dark. Because it's as if the tree is kind of laying down. You know, it's it grew crooked. Okay, well that here just created another branch. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do the tip here. And I went off the brush a little bit, off the branch. Just gonna wipe it. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this branch. Also, not as much. It's starting to get in the back. I'm gonna instead maybe just not put my brush as much as an angle. Okay. What I'm gonna do is this brush here, and here I'm just gonna, since it's created another branch, and go like that. Just gonna rinse my brush a bit. I'm gonna go into my green. I'm gonna make a grayish color now. I want to get to put some highlights and like that. More gray. I'm gonna tap it. Tap it. And tap this one here too. Okay, so it's getting there, more white. Maybe it needs to dry. So maybe what we're gonna do is, yeah, it's gonna need to dry a little bit. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, a little bit more white. That went off here. A little bit tapping here. Trying to stay within my branch. And same thing here, very lightly. And on this branch also, it could be like that. Okay, that's a bit much. Okay, so all it's going to need is little highlights. So what I want to do is go put some bushes back down here. So we're going to take, I'm going to take another palette. I'm going to re-put, actually, my sponge, my baby sponge. I'm going to go into our green that we made, the puddle that we made at the beginning. And I'm going to come and dab around the trees. Just to sit them down, and then I'll put, we'll go put some color in there. Gotta be careful. You don't want to go over your trees because it's gonna it's gonna lay down our tree instead of and when I might tap it instead with a scruffy brush. So I'm gonna take a scruffy brush. Here's another of my scruffy brush. My brushes are very, very old. Oh, my raw sienna. So we're taking burnt sienna, trying to get back the colors that I had. So a little bit of burnt sienna, going back to the original color. Our gold. I already have the red out. So let's mix the raw sienna and the gold. And I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit, and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna tap. See, because I just put the dark there, it kind of brings the tree down. So again, in the gold and the raw sienna, very lightly. Maybe a little bit of the red. Gotta be careful that it's not more than, everywhere else. Here, the little bush could be growing in front of that tree. Gonna dab extra color. And here we're gonna bring back some orange up there. Bring it up. Again, I'm going to go into my raw sienna, especially in the back here. There's not too much details here in the back. So just sitting down the tree. Doesn't take much to sit the tree down. And over here too. Okay, that one, our last one here to sit down. And we're gonna come and add some orange and that. And little branches with the black that we're also gonna do. Okay, so now I'm gonna go get my orange. Whoa. Okay, so I'm not washing my brush, and I'm just gonna come and tap. Maybe a bit more orange than that. Just like that. We can put some red, some green, like the bush hasn't completely changed color yet. So just tapping it in. They don't all have to have orange in it. It's so that some have a lot of orange around. Okay, that one's okay. We're gonna take our clear, like our lighter red, just a little bit. Not cleaning my brush as I'm doing this. And I want to come and add a bit of red, just like that. Doesn't have to be a lot. I hadn't touched that one. Kind of didn't see that one. Here the red is less prominent, so I'll just lightly put some red. And I want maybe like a spot here, that right there, just like that. Okay. I'm going to go in with the lighter green. Now, if I'm going into a lighter green, I will wash my brush. Because if with all the colors I have in my brush, and if I keep, like I had red and orange and I put green, it's going to turn brown. So, dry your brush as much as you can. And let's put a little highlighted green. Again, not too much, like just maybe in a few spots. All we're doing is, the tree's been pushed to sit down, like it's not floating in the And actually, I kind of like it. It's just that over here. So now let's go do some little branches. For that, I'm going to just take my very old brush. And I'm just going to come, and here it could have, little branches. And, you can do that. And actually, I'm going to go into my green and my black to make like a greenish black. And you want some like, I'm gonna push them back in the dark areas. I don't have enough water. When it's not gliding, it's because you don't have enough water. And I'm pressing too hard, so. Okay, so you can do that a little bit. It's not showing, guys, because it's not doing anything. And here. That didn't do anything either. I'm trying not to use this brush because, okay, here we go. It can be just about anywhere you want. Just so that, you know, it looks like there's branches. Do as many as you want, as little as you want. Not at all if you don't want to. You know, it's okay. So in the back here, they might not be as visible. I want to concentrate more in the front. Okay, so I'm going to work a little bit on this tree, this branch. I'm going to take my white again and kind of gray it down a little bit, just to give it a little bit more definition. Water, water, water is the key. And I'm just kind of pressing it in. Okay. Water. Water and white. Okay, and on the little branches, I'm going to go put a little highlight also. Okay, and it's going to get whiter and whiter as we go. Okay, I'm going to go back into my white here. I'm going to add it here and there. See how I'm just tapping it in? Just tapping it in. And we're almost done. After this, I think that's it. The trees have been put down, and if ever my video stops, guys, and I'm not done with this tree, that's all we have to do here. And maybe sit this one down a little bit more. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the raw sienna and just kind of hide where it started. A little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, maybe more. See, now it's a little bit yellow here, just so that it has a bit more red. And just a little, I'm just putting kind of a little highlight in front because these trees are in front. Okay, so a little bit of highlight here also. Let's put some red to pop. So guys, I think we are done. I can't think of anything else that I can do with these trees. Be careful if you do too much highlight, not to just because the rest is not that highlighted here. Okay, so that tree is in the bag. Put a little more orange. It just makes it look so more autumn doing this. Okay, guys, I think this is done. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.